Alright, so today is May 21st, 2021. um, so we just finished trading, and today was a pretty interesting day. Um, yeah, it was a pretty interesting day, and it was simulated as well. And we actually were green on every single trade, but not just green because um, we got all the trades right. There were some that we got wrong, but I managed to get the trade to work using some really good trade management that I've learned recently. Um, so the premise basically today was this. Um, I just All right. So opening up the daily chart. Um, so as you can see, I'm just going to take this out because it's confusing. Remove drawing. All right. So we've kind of obviously been on this bull trend. We kind of stalled, and right now we're in the trading range. We had one really big drop over the last few days, and then a big rise, and a big drop, and then another rise, and then we're at this point where we opened just at this top. We had a little bit of a gap that wasn't closed by this bar, so we had a tiny gap that existed, and to my understanding, when you have gaps, it's a sign of a strong trend. So when you have pullbacks and gaps between pullbacks, the smaller the gaps, the weaker the trend is. So in the interest of having a stronger trend, the bulls are trying to close that gap, and they used this. Today was the day they actually did that. All right. So at the start of the day, we opened just at this point. And my analysis was this. I had this very big supply area that has pushed price down twice. We've had a double bottom here. It was created by this doji over here. So we have a pivot or a swing over here. And then we've had a rejection here, double top here, and it's come down here, which has caused this bottom over here. Lots of buyers in this area because obviously this is the trend line that we've been watching. This trend line actually goes way, way back. And of course, we have some very, very strong demand areas over there. As a result, we had a very, very heavy rise or rally, huge spike correction, and then what do you know? We had a rejection. I wasn't too sure exactly what was going to happen until sort of later in the day. I realized that actually this was a 1, 2, third rise, and usually whenever you have a third rise, it's usually a sign of a reversal, or at least a drop. This could be a bull flag, in which case we could be going back up, just another test before we go back down. In which case we're kind of going up here, or the bulls could kind of take it up a lot higher. Again, as I said, this is a range, or even this is a range. And if we break this range, we go up for a measure move. All right, let's actually look at today's trading. So I'm going to move this back. So if we look at this chart, looking at the Globex chart from last night, I kept on watching this throughout the night until when I got tired. I went to bed really late because I was waiting for this to kind of break out, and nothing really happened until this morning where we kind of broke, and then we got into this range, and then we opened up in here. So it's pretty strong. I had this supply area that I marked already, but I wasn't really sure exactly what to do, especially as we were trading at the top of the supply area. Let's actually just do this. So when we started, really strong rise, and then we came here, wick at the top. So of course, no credible buy. A really strong fall through by the bears, but then not really sure what's happening, and then we went up, a really strong buy. This is usually the top of the range for me, so I would not buy that. I was waiting for the next bar to print above that, and of course I wanted to print above this range. That didn't happen with a really strong sell by the bears, and that came down here. At the time, I wasn't too sure. I was like, we're still in supply. I should probably take this short. Here, this is really, really good. Sell short, very small risk. Obviously, probability is not high. Let's see what happens. And then the next bar printed. We broke our trend. At least the trend on the from this bar. No, we hadn't broken the trend. We started to reject. So I thought, okay, maybe we could go higher. And then this bar printed, and then we broke this range. At this point, I was thinking I could go short, but I am not sure whether the risk reward is. This is a very, very high risk, high probability because we've broken this range. I wasn't sure I wanted to take this. This bar printed, got to the VWAP, and I thought, crap. So at this point, I wasn't really sure what to do, and I was having a bit of FOMO. Right, so let's actually look at this chart instead. There are a few things before we actually go carry on. Some of the things that were worth noting today. So the Globex high essentially is the high from the trading overnight. Globex low, the opening price, MES gap. The gap I was talking about that the bulls wanted to close on the daily chart. The open of this week on the weekly chart because we want to have a very strong week. In fact, let me open the weekly chart just to discuss that. What am I doing? Right, here we go. So let's just use this as a weekly chart. So on the weekly chart we have. So on the weekly chart right now. Okay, this bar has printed already, but prior to that, this bar was a bit green because this obviously is the close of the week, Friday, and we have closed slightly below it. Having this, having this bar red is a very, very good sign for the bears that we are getting weaker. If you actually look at how we've traded, this was the previous range, then we went up, pulled back. No, this is the first pullback. Went back up again, pulled back, went up again, we pulled back, and then this is. Every time I look at this, it always looks different. This is the climax, so it looks like we're about to go sideways. So it's no surprise this is what we've printed and made this bar look like today. At the open, this bar was a bit green. So I marked the open of this week, which is this level, to see how close to it we could close. Alright, so let's put this back on 15 minutes and look at today's trading. Alright, so today, so I marked the opening of the week. Where is it? Here we go. And because it's a Friday, it's worth marking that so you can see what it looks like on the weekly chart and how we're trading relative to this point. And as you can see, the institutions brought it oscillated around here. This was their target. And then the previous day high, obviously, which is what I marked. Alright, so as I said, we rallied for a bit, got to this point, closed that gap here, and then we started to sell off. It was a double top reversal. This is a pattern that I have seen before. I just never ever sometimes you're just not in that mood. You're in a very bullish mood. And I should have just kept to the sell. As you can see, I sold here. I sold at the bottom at 4168.5. So 4168. This was where I sold. Got here and then it started to stall a bit, and then got out for break even on this bar. Actually, got a 1 point scalp out of it. Then I went long with 2 contracts. And why did I go long? I think at the time I had a trend line that looked like this was a reversal. I think I assumed this was a wedge. 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's why. So I assumed this was a wedge. 1, 2, 3. I assumed that was, or maybe 1, 2, 3. So I went long and got out for how many points? No, was that 3 points? And then at the top we had a wedge here, sold this close, and no, what did I do wrong? No, I didn't take this sell. I was thinking of taking this sell because I was like saying to myself, my rules are 1, 2, 3. This is a wedge bottom. This is your sell signal bar here. Actually, let's have a look. 1, 2, yeah, 3. This is your sell signal bar here, or even this is your sell signal bar. This is your stop. Sell this close, or sell this low for 4 points. I didn't take it, and this surprise bar appeared. Slightly upset, but I didn't take it because I think listening to Owl, I heard maybe this was a low probability sell, so I didn't take it. I think at this point I started to realize that it looks like we are going down, but we were hovering around here, which was the opening price. So I assumed, okay, this could be the bottom. Maybe this is the wedge itself, but let's actually see what's going to happen. Price started to drop again even further. I had another channel here actually, and this is where things started to look slightly confusing for me. Anyway, this was a channel in the end. I'm just going to remove it because it's too many lines in the chart. I have two different screens, so I have different lines for different things. Alright, so this is the 20-day moving average on the 60-minute chart. This is the 20-period moving average on the 5-minute and the VWAP. As you can see, we're completely below the VWAP, in which case we are bearish. Wasn't thinking about that when I was trading. Completely forgot about the VWAP and totally ignored it. And looking at that now, we bounced off the VWAP, which this would have been a real credible sell. Now looking at it, but I wasn't looking at the VWAP because as you can see, that's what's happened. Then I went long here because I thought this is another wedge. 1, 2, 3. Went long with one contract here. That wasn't working. Mistakenly bought 3. No, I bought 3. I went with 1 more or 3 more by mistake and bought 4 and got out at the top of this bar for a small profit. And this was a mistake, the bad trade. Started off really bad, bought some more, assuming this was a wedge because this was the overshoot that I was looking for, and then realized that this is not the bar to buy. This is the bar to buy. So I bought some more here, the 4 contracts. Assume this was a signal bar for a wedge. We didn't go that much higher, and I got out at the top. Then we had this drop. So I reconstructed my wedge line, and then had this area form. Oh, actually, before this formed, I noticed we were in a range, and I assumed if we broke out of this range, I will sell the close of this bar for 4 points, which is exactly what happened. So I put a limit order just at the bottom of this bar, got filled, and put a target for a measured move round about here, and I got filled here. And I did want to put my target here. I got filled here because when I did the measured move on my other chart, the 5-minute chart on my other screen, which I'm going to show right now, when I did that, I had already marked it, but I got the wrong number, at which point I already got filled. I was going to move my exit down there. Wrong chart. I was going to move my exit on here to down here. Anyway, got filled. It was still a good trade. Then we had this rally up, and this rally was all the way up from a very strong demand zone, this area. Now, we'd been breaking all these demand zones. This I wasn't too sure about. This was from the Globex chart. There's a 15-minute demand, which was obviously here. It was a strong demand zone, so I assumed we would have something like that, but wasn't really too sure about it. Anyway, we had a very, very strong response from buyers. I didn't take it long. I should have taken it long, but I think at that point I was quite bearish because I thought we were going to have a very strong double bottom sell-off, which we didn't have. Anyway, so I watched this thing rally, and then I bought the top, which did not make any sense. Anyway, got out, bought some more over here, and then got out at the top around here for 4 points. So I got exactly the 4 points I was after. just managing the trade a lot better. Then I sold, had a wedge, sold the close of this bar, got another 4 points down here, and that was the last bit of trading. I was just then now watching how price was oscillating around this week close, a week open, throughout the entire day, and yeah, and excuse me, yeah, we can see we just closed to the tick at the opening price. This was a credible sell, double top, wedge. Should have taken a sell here, down here. It's close to the end of the day, but it was a credible sell. This was another one I wasn't too sure. I couldn't sell because I didn't see the wedge here, but then seeing this 1, 2, 3, this was a good sell. Now, why didn't I buy this? Because we did get a wedge, did we? No. Hang on, yeah. Well, one would argue that this is the first low, second, third, because the bear trend actually started here. So this is a credible buy, but I get really confused about these, so I didn't do those. All in all, it wasn't a bad day. I do wish I was a bit more bearish than I'm bullish at the beginning, in which case I would have taken this short. I had no reason not to sell this anyway. With this at the top, if say so, my stop would have been okay, just about 4 points above, which is just about 1-to-1. Alright, so that is my trading today. Looking forward to seeing Monday. Going to be trading in the simulator for a bit until I have a very good handle of managing these trades. I'm getting better with breakouts and getting better. This breakout I missed. As you can see, this was the measured move from the top, so assuming this was the breakout, this was the target, so this would have been a credible sell around here had I seen this as a breakout. Right,